All right, I'm live. I thought I was live before and I was going into a bunch of stuff, realized it was still starting. Um, I don't know. I've been working with a coach who's a pretty amazing person actually, and his whole thing is just do it. So I'm not going to wait till the studio is ready or complete. I'm just going to do it now before I even start on it. This is kind of the pre this is like not set up right now, but I figured I'd come online anyway and just say hello and just share with you some things. So, yeah, it's been quite the journey, and so I'm really focused on being more of service to people, helping them in their health challenges, and helping them break through some things. But there's so many people that are suffering right now that it's time for me to really move into that space and kind of share the knowledge that I've gathered over the years. There's a lot of people that, have their mind up about certain things. You know, some of them think that plants are trying to kill you. Some of them really believe that, and I don't, obviously, because the plants are doing a pretty shitty job of it. Now, obviously, there's some plants you don't want to mess with. For instance, you don't want to put hemlock in your salad. That's probably not a wise move. Just ask Socrates how that worked out. Um, but yeah, there are certain plants that are for us to eat, obviously, and certain plants that produce other results, other effects. Um, but the main thing that I want to share is that if you just look at it in terms of what is the most non-violent way to eat, it's not killing the plant either. It's the fruit, and it just naturally falls off the tree. It's in great abundance. Um, People have these ideas about fruit and that you can't live on it and you need protein and all this other stuff. But there's people out there. I just watched a video, some woman in Australia. She's like on day 55 of eating nothing but oranges. So where's her protein coming from? Actually, actually, protein. There's protein in oranges. Um, so yeah, it's like for me, really vibe with that. And coach I'm working with now, he's a pretty incredible person. He's a Canadian guy, and he's pretty ripped on just fruits alone. Like very much has a strong physique. Now, I think a lot of people in this fruitarian kind of raw vegan kind of situation, they hyper focus on just eating fruits or greens or whatever, but you really got to do strength training, and that's kind of where I slipped up a little bit. Is I lost a little bit of strength, but now I'm back at it, doing curls with the 5 gallon buckets of water, getting back the strength. But yeah, I kind of slid too. So you really got to do the strength training and also some kind of exercise for sure, some aerobic exercise, and you'll be doing just fine. I mean, I know there's another guy out here on Facebook who literally shows the before and after, you know, with just raw vegan lifestyle, and he is ripped. Like it's insane. So it's definitely possible. A lot of times we have these preconceived notions that infect our subconscious mind, that cloud our vision, but you can really do a lot with just the um, right, how do you say, the right belief system, um, but also the attitude. If you have that attitude that you can do anything and get it done, you can. And that's the magical thing. It's like that's the one thing I learned about in alchemy is that the outer world reflects the inner world. So the work is really in the the inner the inner process, the inner laboratory, or with the organs and stuff. And it's not just all about taking something. The breath work is also powerful. I remember back at one of the alchemy conferences, I think it was the one in Los Angeles, the convention center, Dennis Hawk, who is a pretty amazing person himself. He was doing some meditation stuff with the circulating the chi energy and like distilling it off and all of those different processes that go on with the traditional alchemy. Well, I guess you could argue that in the traditional sense that it was more physical, making things, iatrochemistry kind of stuff, uh, but yeah, there's an inner process as well. Obviously, I mean, you study some of the Chinese work in this inner alchemy, Taoist alchemy and stuff, and pretty amazing stuff. I saw another YouTube video the other day. There's a guy that can set fire to paper and shock people with the chi that he circulates. It's no joke, man. Like being in the Orma scene too. It's like I've met a lot of different practitioners that work with chi, and I remember one time one of my friends threw a chi ball at me, and I don't, you know, you can argue with me on the validity of that and if it's a scam or if it's whatever, but I know what I experienced, and you know, you don't have to believe if you actually have experienced it. So I just invite you to study your belief systems and just see where you're at. And if there's belief systems that don't serve you, reinstall them through repetition until it feels right. So at first it's going to feel like, no, I'm not that, I'm not that. But then, just like they could brainwash you into, taking the jab sauce, they can, or patriotism or blind allegiance, you can brainwash yourself into stepping into your power. So I just want to invite you to kind of study, or if you'd like to, um, there's plenty of opportunity to study uh, your true power and to really practice that. And life should be magical. Um, this is a truly miraculous thing that we're actually alive right now. The amount of processes that are going on at the cellular level to generate consciousness and to generate experience. I mean, come on, that's insane. Like, it's just so complex, and yet we just take so much for granted. Just kind of go on autopilot, and those belief systems that were installed in us as kids, and then the other ones kind of police that belief system in later in life. So it's kind of like when they see something unusual, they try to convince you that it's their way when you've obviously experienced stuff that's just so beyond people's realization. Like, I mean, understanding of what the hell is going on in this reality and our true power. So there's some really good books. Montauk Chia is a really great author. I got to meet him at the Alchemy Conference in Los Angeles. And yeah, it's been quite the journey. And I'm still learning. And I let a lot of stuff slip during the way. And I forgive myself for that. And I heard the other day, I think it was from Ty Lopez, 10 years of regret, what is it, can be wiped away with just 6 months of focus. So I'm working on focus right now because I feel like There's a lot more magic to create here. I remember back in like 2014, 2015, just the amount of metaphysical magic that I experienced. Um, it's really hard to explain. Like seeing the sky split open and um, sort of these guardians around the the entrance point, almost like this Masonic kind of vibe, is just really, really weird. But yeah, it's like maybe with disclosure right now, people will kind of be open to new things, but you know, people are definitely, in this cognitive dissonance kind of state right now. But, you know, at one point, belief systems were of such that um, they're just completely different than what they are now. And I don't necessarily think that we like were Stone Aged Neanderthals and then we grew into this is the pinnacle of our existence as Homo sapien. I honestly think there was more technologically advanced civilizations in the past that then got reset, and I'm sure it'll be reset again. And hopefully, we can cultivate the consciousness that's required to make better choices. Maybe not incarnate this next time around. Maybe we're done with this Earth school. Maybe it's time to go create universes like the Mormons. I think. I don't know. It's all above me. But all I do know is that, you know, I want to be service to people. I want to help them achieve their potential. That's kind of a weird thing, weird way to say it, but I think the majority of it is about self realization, self actualization, and if some of my experiences can help someone else be guided in that process to their highest timeline, and so that they can enjoy this life and all the abundance that it has to offer. We get sucked into all this negativity and stuff because I feel like it's this false virtue kind of thing going on. And, the reality of it is um, we are good and we are not dependent on things outside of ourselves. We are our own inner authority, and all we have to do is cultivate that knowingness, the knowingness of thyself, and really, there's a bunch of people that do some really good work in this sense of spirituality. I've found that there's a link between spiritual nature, what we consume, not only with our mind but with our body, and it's all kind of related. But yeah, there's nobody on here right now, so I don't know if I have a question to ask. But anyway, it's a beautiful summer here in Southern California. We're still squeezing out the last little bit of June gloom, so it's like absolutely beautiful in the morning. It's like cool, like crisp. I've got all the trees around the house, so it's pretty much even in the hottest summer, it's still cool inside because there's this geothermal like effect with underground, the trees blocking the sun, and yeah, so we don't need air conditioner. That's not true for everybody. Both of our neighbors on each side have air conditioner, but not here. We have a nice breeze though. I like it that way. It's just really quite perfect. I think it's how we were designed. Living out in Vegas, it's like there were people living in Vegas in like the 1920s without air conditioner. So how did they do it? They had trees, and I know they obviously had running water by what is it? It's kind of by, well, the meadows. Las Vegas actually means the meadows, I believe, or the springs. But there's like this little river that kind of pops out of the ground. It's on the north. It's on the southeastern part of town. It's kind of just this river with all these reeds and stuff. It's pretty cool. But there's also the Spring Mountains on the western side of town, and they have, running water in the wintertime, and supposedly it's a spring fed river system, but obviously it's so hot in Vegas that shit just evaporates so quickly. So I don't think I've ever seen it run in the summer, but then again, I don't know that I went hiking out in the summertime. But the Spring Mountains are pretty amazing, um, in terms of the water and the cliffs. And there's like this trail that you can go. You kind of go in this road that goes out towards Pahrump, and then you cut up this other road, and then you're in the back country, and you can ultimately hike to the edge of these cliffs and see the view of Las Vegas. It's pretty far out. But yeah, like no one had air conditioning back then. It was all like cooled by trees, and so I don't know what we're doing with all these data centers and all this generating all this heat that's not necessary. We could just pull our pull our resources together and figure out some other option, because we're just raising the temperature of everything with all the electricity, all the heat and stuff. So yeah. Do I look like I have gray hair right now? I don't know. Can you tell? Apparently, I'm not supposed to have gray hair, or I'm prematurely gray, or something like that. I don't know. But let's see. What else is there? Um, oh, just been working in the lab a little bit lately, and I'm really excited about some of the stuff I'm working on. And if you haven't yet tried the gold, I strongly encourage that. It's quite the shift in consciousness, and especially when done with intention, and maybe pair it with some good shilajit, it does something to the pineal gland, that's for sure. The level of lucidity in the dreams, and not only that, but like I've seen like the people over the years, they age slowly. Um, it's a profound detox as well. But I mean, you figure like this stuff was like um, safeguarded by certain secret societies and actually kept amongst the aristocracies because they knew the value of it. And just look at some of the greats, like Isaac Newton was into alchemy. Um, Look at some of the work by Basil Valentine and Paracelsus. Um, what's the other guy's name? Nicholas Flamel. I mean, these weren't chumps. They were pretty smart people, and they knew what was up. And yeah, you could probably say like, I don't know. I heard like Isaac Newton had a bunch of mercury in his hair and stuff when he died, but um, so maybe he wasn't as smart as I think or we think. But um, alchemy was like pretty legitimate art, and many people studied it. Many people used it as a system of healing. And so the main thing is we're not even dealing with eating metal. There's a lot of people in different communities that talk about gold, colloidal gold, and Ormus gold, and all that. We're talking about gold being used as a catalyst in a process that creates a series of hydrocarbons from these building blocks. And similar to a plant, but it's like 100 times stronger than a plant. You could pair the gold with other plant tinctures and it magnifies or accentuates that product. So the other thing is it just creates states of bliss, profound bliss. It is very powerful indeed. I've worked with clients that have exuded cadmium after taking it, like the cadmium left their body. It goes deep, and it's amazing because I'm still learning from it. I still learn from it after all these years doing it, and it just fascinates me. So that's my service offering. But on top of that, if you're struggling with some health situation, I'm always willing to jump on a call with you for free, just see where you're at, give you some advice, and if you'd like to work with me, bonus. But ultimately, I want to see you in perfect health, achieving your goals, and having fun doing it, and building community. When I first started with all of this, I was um, in the conscious community festival scene, the arts and music festival, and they were very open to this sort of thing. So I saw profound healing. I've seen incredible amounts of detox, especially like people on psychedelics that didn't want to be on psychedelics. It like snaps them out of the whole thing. And so, um, yeah, I I hope that other people can vibe with it and see utility in it and benefit in it and use it. Um, but also, I also want to see people healed and not have to suffer from chronic inflammation or uh, just mystery illnesses, all this nonsense. I mean, I people are just like some of the people that I've met, they're just like so inflamed that it's like a sausage, it's like they're just tight. There's like it's just like it's hard to even explain, but there's no like muscular or veins or it's just plump like a sausage. So that inflammation can be reduced by using vitalist principles and honoring natural law and just dialing the hydration and stuff and the sleep, stress levels, get the cortisol down, do the strength exercises. It really doesn't, you don't really notice it um, in the beginning, the first half of your life, where the strength is just kind of taken for granted. But you got to prepare for the later stages with strength training. You really do. That's just so crucial. So, anyway, if I could be part of your healing journey, I'm happy to do so. And if you're struggling with something that no one can really figure out, let me know. I've got all kinds of options. I've been doing this work since 2011, 2012. I know a lot of practitioners. Um, a lot of this you can see in the eyes. So I don't know if you're familiar with iridology or Dr. Bernard Jensen, but um, he's documented quite a bit of these this phenomenon that you could see sort of these weaknesses that you could then work on with the herbs and a natural diet that honors natural law that is so basic that if if you just reverse engineer our design, uh, the whole you'll have an aha moment with it. But I do know that I have work to do myself. I definitely want to get ripped, and I'm going to start working in the gym, working out in the gym, and get some muscle mass going. I've been so nerdy, like just studying, that I kind of put the exercise off. Kind of dealing with some back situation as well, so I kind of haven't been exercising like I should. That's all going to change, um, because I feel like, I see some of the other people getting the results. I'm like, dang, I could do that. No problem. Just takes some consistency. Also going to rejoin the 5 a.m. club because life is so much better when you wake up and it's dark out and no one's up. You could, there's like a certain quietness in it, and productivity. The whole world is still asleep. And would love to start playing tennis again. I used to play tennis with my friend that I met, and he was like 10 years younger than me, and I was like blasting him all over the place on the court. He was like, damn, he didn't really believe it. The energy that I had. So I really want to get back into that, or at least playing more basketball. That'd be fun. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, just hit me up. I'd be happy to be of service and help shape the path forward, set some goals. I learned recently that being a coach, you don't have to be like this perfect, like the example this coach that I'm working with used was Michael Phelps. You don't have to be like Michael Phelps level swimming to coach Michael Phelps. So I'm just going for it. I kind of thought that way for a while. It's like I've got to be in excellent shape. I've got to have the six pack. I've got to have all the muscle. I've got to have all the wealth and all this and all that. And it's like being a coach. Like, remember your baseball coach? Was he a good baseball player? I don't know. I played baseball, loved baseball. I was like, biggest thing for me was it was getting on the All Star team and winning championships, of course. But the coach wasn't hitting home runs, so I kind of reshifted my perception on that. That was a really good belief system to knock out because all the information that I have, I've seen what works, seen what doesn't work. I've seen so much, and I have access to like the traditional alchemy, which is like the complete medical system in itself. Now, I'm not practicing medicine. I'm just saying it was practiced as medicine in the past. I'm a health and wellness guide or coach, and everybody should obviously be working with a physician and doctor and doing, you know, reviewing things with them. I think that's so important to differentiate. Like, I'm not, I mean, if you get healed in the process, great, but I'm not um, equipped to give medical advice, but I will be able to help research certain things and coach you on the best option in partnership with your doctor. But yeah, I really want to reintroduce this technology, and you know, there's just so much study that needs to be done with it, and we can do trials with it. But if you just look at Basil Valentine's book that was annotated by Dr. Kirkring, who's a Dutch physician, he goes into his practice on how these things affected his clients. And yeah, I know it works. And also, I've seen it work, but I'm not claiming it works. But hey, if it works, it works. But obviously, it's more complicated than that. And I'm definitely not giving any medical advice. Um, but I do encourage you to take control of your health freedom because Health is the true wealth. Without health, we we start with health, and then we get wealth, and then I don't know if there's something that rhymes with that. uh, but yeah, it's like don't get overwhelmed with it. Just start with one step. Just start with like introducing fruit in the morning or drinking enough water, good water, spring water. Lower the microplastics. Get into fermented foods that remediate the microplastics. There was a study with kimchi that showed great promise, and I think there's another one, sulfonase. I think it's called. I don't know. I might be saying that wrong, but it's a component in broccoli that they've studied that break down microplastics. So there's like little things you can do to get started. You don't have to go raw vegan right away. I'm just kind of even tired of the word vegan. It's such a triggering thing. It's like I don't even want to call myself a vegan. It's like why do we have to make a label? I'm a human that eats food that is natural to my design. Right? Why do I have to have a label? Why do I have to have an identity around something that triggers everybody? Like, I'm not here to convert people into veganism. Hey, if someone wants to do that, great. I'm here to remind you of your true power. And once you get into the process of healing and see what works, it kind of becomes obvious. Like, I saw a video the other day of this woman just like going off and talking about how the fish is her family and all this nonsense. It's like, does that turn people on to what you are doing? Or does that make you look like a lunatic? It it's just like, come on. I understand it's like a lot of suffering, but I would argue that homie with the snake diet, Cole, I think his name's Cole. That guy's probably made more, saved more animals, and he still eats them, but he's on the sugar kick right now. And at some point, maybe he'll get into the fruit. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, honestly. Obviously, it would be a really beautiful thing if we didn't have to kill all these animals and create all this endless suffering and whatnot. But maybe at some point human consciousness will be at a place where we recognize the the unnecessary nature of all of it, of what we're doing, and that we can live in peace and harmony with the world and honor our design, basically. So anyway, hope everybody's having a great Friday. I think it's Friday, yeah, Friday night in the big city, and we'll see you later.